and welcome back to Triple Gaming with me, Fletcher. And today is the first part of my Jurassic World building series. But before we get into that, please consider liking the video, and if you are new here, subscribing to the channel for future videos and discussion. Now then, how often has this happened to you? You pick your map on JWE, you clear the trees, you flatten the whole area, and you get ready to build your sandbox park. And then you stall when it comes to how to start. Well, hopefully this video will help you out. I'm going to be showing you how to make some park entrances. Some simple, some not, some aimed at vanilla players, and some aimed at the modders. Hopefully you'll find some inspiration here. So here we go. You'll see we're on Nublar, and we've already constructed some monorail entrances to work with. The first entrance I'm going to show you is the simple avenue. Popularized by the films, the avenue is a simple but effective entrance to the park. Building it is equally easy, but first it's important to know how to use the path tool effectively. All your path types have a simple measuring system, either full length or the shortest length. You can use these to help measure out your constructions, and it's important to get used to doing this as you build your parks. So, on with the avenue. Start by constructing a long central path and create 2 endpoints. Be careful to ensure that you allow the path to snap to endpoints. You'll hear a snapping noise and visibly see the path jump when it snaps. Construct your buildings off these paths. Now, for realism's sake, it's worth considering what buildings you're putting in. At the entrance, it's likely that you want things like gift shops, toy shops, that sort of thing, given that guests will be leaving this way, and gift shops are usually the last thing visited at any park or zoo. Between each shop, make sure you put another thin path section. This helps to space the buildings and avoid it looking too cluttered. Another thing worth remembering is that many of these structures have corner sections missing. Try to match these up together. It additionally helps to make the avenue look spaced out and nice. Also, don't be scared to position shops or buildings parallel to the side streets, such as here with the bar. Whatever looks good and nicely spaced. Try to get them as close as possible to the paths when they snap on. Once the buildings are established, draw a straight path at the rear of each building to again create spacing and neaten out each side. It may be tricky to get the path to snap correctly, but if you persevere you should be able to get it perfect. If you find the snapping working poorly, you can always try redrawing the sections. Neaten out the ends just for symmetry, and there you have it. 1 avenue. The avenue design is simple and easily built whether you use mods or you play in vanilla, and doesn't require complex path or monorail structure design, which may be tricky on a console. It can easily be copied to other areas of your park and serve as a focal point which you can then use to lead into other areas. But what else can you do with this basic design? Well, in best Blue Peter fashion, which the British viewers will get, here's some I made earlier. By adding a space in the middle of the avenue, you provide space for environmental touches. Here we have a simple water feature, which you could easily add trees or rocks for further sculpturing. The added central space helps spread the buildings out further, and adds to the natural spacing that the avenue provides. Here we have something similar, but a little wider. Double wide path short lengths as opposed to singles. This gives a larger space which can be used for trees and a little landmass. You could also use the sand tool here to create a little beach inside there. More extreme, how about using the central gap to plant large overhanging trees? Here I've raised up the central space tall enough to place in the middle the tree of life plants, and then re-flatten the terrain under them. This is easiest with the Advanced Terrain Tools mod, but certainly doable in vanilla mode as well. This creates a shaded canopy over your paths, and you can use the gaps between each tree for lighting, signage and flower beds, or you could even just create some paths to join the two sides up. Here we have the tall pines or redwoods used to flank the paths through the central space to create a tool display. So you can see here, just by having a space in the middle of your avenue, you can create some nice environmental features which helps to make your park less of a concrete jungle. Now here's a final idea, which may be better to implement not for the main entrance, but perhaps for your transport entrances. Have your monorail line run in the middle of your avenue. Here we have it with some water and with some trees. You could even line this monorail line with enclosures to give your monorail guests something to see and to help with your visibility rating. It looks fairly dramatic with those tall arches, and again helps to make your avenue more of a focal point for the rest of your park. So there we go. With just a few modifications, your avenues can really spruce up your entrances. Well, what about something less square? Back to Nublar then, and here we're going to create some geometric shapes. Now again, start by building full length paths in the middle. Go with thin ones as they're easier to use at this point. Snap the path to the middle section, and remember to use even numbered sections of vertical and horizontal path to get a good middle point. Now, from the vertical and horizontal lines, you can create most shapes. A square, for example, if you want to create a simple plaza, and you can even create large circles if you're careful. But what I like to use is octagons. Drag out a central path between the vertical and the horizontals. Make sure to snap it to the middle. If it doesn't snap, you can always try again. Then join up the endpoints to create your octagon. From here, you can change the width of the paths. The reason I love these geometric shapes is you can use each point to draw out more paths and thus create a web which will easily help with building up your park. Once you've learned the method, it's very easy to do it fast and they look good in any path type. Here's another example built in wooden paving. By altering which lines you delete or upgrade, you can create some differing shapes. So again, here's some I made earlier to give you some ideas of what to do with your geometric shapes. I like to put small enclosures in the middle of mine. Here we have a small herbivore exhibit, a few Dryosaurus and a couple of Chasmosaurs. If you're playing in full sandbox without dinosaur requirements, these work well for smaller herbivores. Use low fences from the advanced fencing mod, or use the light steel fencing from vanilla gameplay for maximum realistic viewing of the dinosaurs inside. You can also try putting small carnivores in these paddocks. Here we have some Herrerasaurus in their own savanna style enclosure. A good tip for making carnivore exhibits is to double stack your fencing. It adds to realism and also makes your carnivore paddock stand out. Again, 3 to 5 small carnivores or maybe 2 to 3 mid-sized dinosaurs will fit well and not look too crowded in here. Moving on from dinosaur exhibits, you can use the geometric shapes for other structures. For example, here, using it to create a viewing gallery plaza. The fences are here to show you how I would build each paddock up to the paving. This could work well off the bottom of an avenue or off to the sides. You could also use your shapes as guest plazas. Here we have a few important facility buildings well spaced inside. It is tricky to fit it all in well, but it does work as a small guest facility section, and if you build your octagon larger, you could use it as a park entrance and get all the major buildings inside. Perhaps you want your guests to get straight on another monorail. Here we use the same shape to create a nice monorail station. A few trees and structures located around helps to make the station look less of an eyesore. To create an immediate wow factor, you could make your octagons even larger. In here we have a 4 max path length width octagon. This is easily big enough for a few sauropods and viewing structures for those park entrances with an immediate wow factor. We have some Brachiosaurus and some Camarasaurus in here. Don't forget to put guest structures around the outside of this to keep their needs fulfilled and for realism. Double stack the fencing for these large and dangerous animals. A final example here is a massive focal point, something I like to do in my parks. A simple and small internal octagon with multiple external ones around it. Here we have guest structures and viewing galleries around the outside, and the inside of this construction is lower than the outside. This means guests up high have clear and mostly uninterrupted views into the enclosure. The small hexagon inside is easily large enough for a single medium-sized carnivore, in this case an Allosaurus. Using terrain heights like this can be a great way of adding depth to your parks if you have a tendency to build very flat exhibits or areas. Remember that these octagons are only really good for species if you play in full sandbox rules. Expect breakouts if you play with the space rules on. And again, don't forget to supply your guests viewing areas with facilities for those ratings, but also for added realism. Now let's leave sleeping owls lie and get back to designing entrances. So this last example here will be an idea that you can only really make using the Ultimate Mixed Eras mod and the Enhanced Terrain Tools mod, which is available on Nexus. What we are going to do here is create our own mock monorail entrance. You can see here I've already built up a large mount between two sections of the park. In one section, we're going to place our entrance helipad and first monorail station. Then we're going to join the two stations through the mount down this narrow cutting and put in our own park gate. Now this is a tricky part, and if you are using the advanced terrain tools, I suggest you build everything first before you build your mountain around it, so you can avoid the annoying cannot flatten terrain issue. You can use the Ultimate Mixed Eras mod to install your own gate decorations and put in your own entrance gateways. That way you can create your own mock monorail entrance, like that seen in Jurassic World. Build your mount up fairly tall and imposing for that added environmental impact, but to also shield most of your park from the guests in the monorail. So let's have a look at that view ourselves. It's certainly a cool way to enter your parks. Consider building a great view to look out onto after the gate, such as a large lagoon or a large paddock. Remember that this sort of design is only doable with the Ultimate Mixed Eras mod, available on Nexus mods for PC users. So for some further inspiration, let's take a look at some of the parks I've made in the last month since getting the Expanded Islands mod and beginning the process of rebuilding many of the parks I had made in the base game. Here we have Isla Matanceros. We have a simple double helipad arrival site with a small avenue plaza. This is located in the shadow of a large artificial dam, which provides a great environmental decoration. We also have several enclosures located nearby for guests to view into. Here we have the entrance to my massive Isla Sorna biome park. Here I went with both an artificial entrance and an avenue. Guests arrive on their helipads and take the monorail through this region and over a forested lake before entering the park properly. I'll let you enjoy the ride.
Stand by. Helicopter departing.
Once off the monorail, guests walk into the large central avenue and plaza with all the main facilities they need, as well as viewing towers for an octagon exhibit at the end full of smaller herbivores. This avenue is lined by tall redwoods on either side for that Isla Sorna, the Lost World feel, and to match it to the other enclosures in the area. You can see how the avenue and the central octagon enclosure has helped me lay out the rest of this area in a nice symmetrical way, with added enclosures and guest areas. I think it also has a cool shape to it in general. Here's my Isla Penna with some more ideas. Here we have two helipads that lead into a walk-through exhibit attached to other geometric shapes. We also have an artificial entrance way down by the sea with its own gate to form a VIP area. This has a simple square plaza for a few main structures. We also have an idea here for an entrance that leads off its monorail to an innovation centre and its own almost palatial gardens to create a central grand area. And here finally on my newest and not yet complete park, we have a geometric plaza with main buildings and foliage to create a nice guest arrival spot which connects to its own mock entranceway at the edge of the map here. So I hope that this video has given you some inspiration for how to start your own parks. Now I'd like to try to make one of these JWE build guide videos at least once a week, so I'm asking you to let me know what you'd like to see next time. I have a few ideas already, so please vote for which you'd like to see. Would you like to see me show you how to create some interesting biome designs? Or maybe you'd like to give your enclosures an extra boost with some decoration and environmental touches? Or perhaps you'd like some tips about how to deal with those annoying gaps in your park and how to create pleasing gap fill. Please let me know which you'd like to see next. But for now, thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Please remember to like and comment, and if you're new here, consider subscribing for more content not just from me, but from the other Triclaw members who are working on their own series as I speak. For now, however, goodbye, and remember to stay safe. I'll leave you with the dinosaurs.